My name is Oluwafemi Olatunji, and this is my Cybersecurity Web 110 final project. Cybersecurity is defined or sometimes referred to as information security, refers to the practice of ensuring the integrity, confidentiality, and availability of information. The different types of cybersecurity. The first one is network security, which protects network traffic by controlling incoming and outgoing connections to prevent threats from entering or spreading on the network. The second one is data loss prevention, which protects data by focusing on the location, classification, and monitoring of information. The third one is the intrusion detection system, which works to identify potentially hostile cyber activity. The fourth one is identity and access management, which uses authentication services to limit and track employee access to protect internal systems from malicious entities. The fifth one is data encryption. It is the process of encoding data to render it unintelligible and is often used during data transfer to prevent theft in transit. The last one is virus and malware protection, which scans computer systems for known threats. Modern solutions are even able to detect previously unknown threats based on their behavior. Why is cybersecurity important? Firstly, we live in a world with increased security risk. Whether you're an individual, a small business, or a large multinational, you rely every day on your computer systems. If you add this to the rise in cloud services, security issues, smartphones, and the existence of the Internet of Things, we have a myriad of cybersecurity threats that didn't even exist a few decades ago. Also, we live in a tech-reliant world, and the world relies a lot more on technology than before. So, as a result of this, data creation is surged. Today, businesses and governments use data and transmit a lot of it across networks to other computers. Devices and their underlying systems have vulnerabilities that, when exploited, can undermine the health of an organization. Also, information theft. The loss of critical data, such as source files or intellectual property, can cost a company its competitive advantage. Going further, a data breach can actually impact corporate revenues due to non-compliance with data protection regulations. It's even estimated that on an average, a data breach costs an affected organization about $3.6 million. dollars. Also, some popular recent corporate hacks. In 2014, Sony Entertainment was hacked, and hackers released loads of emails and confidential data. It cost Sony about $35 million. Dollars. The Hilton Hotels was hacked in 2015, and it cost them about $700,000 in fines. Customer credit cards info was stolen. And in 2016, Tesco Bank was hacked by hackers who stole about $3.2 million dollars from over 9,000 accounts. Tesco Bank was required to reimburse the customers, and it cost them, after fines, about $24.5 million. Dollars. In 2016 again, Swift payment systems were exploited by hackers who tried to steal more than $110 million dollars from the Bangladesh Central Bank account at the New York Federal Reserve, and about $63 million dollars is still unaccounted for. Chipotle in 2017 was hacked by using phishing and malware, and it was used to steal credit card information from over 2,250 restaurants. Some major threats in the cybersecurity world include malware, which is a software that is malicious and can infect computers. Ransomware is malware that locks or encrypts data until a ransom is paid. Phishing is the practice of obtaining sensitive information through a disguised email, phone call, or text message. Social engineering is the psychological manipulation of individuals to obtain confidential information. Sometimes it overlaps with phishing, as I'll show in a later slide. Advanced persistent threats is an attack in which an unauthorized user gains access to a system or network and remains there for quite a while. Another one is the DDoS attack, called also known as distributed denial of service attack, in which there's a malicious attempt to disrupt normal traffic of a targeted server. overwhelming the targets or surrounding infrastructure with a flood of internet traffic. Hacking is sort of like the umbrella term for all cyber attacks. Spam is unsolicited, usually commercial messages such as email, text messages, or even internet postings sent to a large number of recipients. Spoofing is the act of disguising a communication from an unknown source as being from a known and trusted source. Spoofing can also apply to email, phone calls, and websites. It can be more technical sometimes, even including IP address and DNS servers. A Trojan horse is a type of malware that is often disguised as a legitimate software. Trojans can be employed by cyber hackers by using them to try to gain access to user systems. They're tricked by some type of social engineering sometimes. Botnets is a number of internet connected devices, each of which is running one or more bots, and they can be used to perform a DDoS attack too. And they can also be used to steal data, send spam, or even allow attackers to access device and connections. Okay, here's some examples of phishing and social engineering. So here is one of a letter that's an example of social engineering. It's basically telling you they want to place an urgent order. Listen to that, urgent. Also, it's telling you to click on a link to download the file, and when you later click on it, it redirects you to this website that actually looks like Dropbox but isn't Dropbox. If you notice, it tells you to sign in with your email address over here, but since Dropbox is, with Google, it's supposed to tell you to sign in with your, Gmail address. Also, if you notice, they're using an outdated image over there. So this is the original Dropbox website. Notice the image over here, and then, image over here. The sign in with Google, it's over here, and then it's protected by reCAPTCHA, which you didn't see on the first one. So some other current threats, a ransomware that would attack on the virtual care provider. November 2019, they were demanding for 14 million before releasing the encrypted data files. The Vatican Minecraft servers were also attacked by DDoS attacks. The Vatican was trying to create their own, server to stop cyber bullies and all, but it didn't work out because it was attacked by the DDoS attack. This was recent; it was in December of 2019, and the hacking of Citrix systems. It's still being investigated by the FBI. This happened in March. They used a password spraying attack. So, how do you protect yourself against it? How can you protect it against cyber attacks? First, secure your networks. Keep all networks and firewalls secured by using up to date software and employing updated security measures. Next, accounts. Secure all user accounts by setting up multi factor authentication and using strong passwords on accounts. Next, privacy. Keep personal information private. Never share sensitive information over a public network. And sometimes I even try to encourage people to use firewalls when transmitting sensitive data. Next, educate yourself, educate your employees, your friends, your staff, your kids. Let them know about recent attacks. Also, know to watch out for misspelled or substituted words. Like sometimes, watch for L's, I's. They look alike. Zero, O, they look alike. They can be substituted for each other. The P, B, D, they look alike. They can be substituted for each other. Next, updates. Keep all security systems up to date. Your network systems, your firewalls, your applications, even your operating systems. Make sure they're up to date. Backup. Have a data backup and have a backup plan. Have a contingency plan. Know what to do after you've been attacked. In conclusion, cybersecurity is still a developing field, and it requires most individuals and governments to actually pay attention to it, because even now warfare has started shifting to cyber warfare, and with the recent developments, it's something that should be given a lot more attention. How do we combat it? Let's pay attention and act smart, because even a little bit of negligence can be very tragic. And here are some recent statistics for 2019. Almost half of all companies have about 1,000 sensitive piece of information that is not protected. And attacks on healthcare are expected to increase by about 400% in 2020. Remember how I just spoke about the VPCI, the systems that was attacked, and they were demanding about $14 million. Yes, that was a healthcare service. The biggest cost for a cyber attack is productivity, and the cost of cybercrime is expected to exceed about $6 trillion annually by 2020. Thank you very much, and begin. Here's some references that I used.